Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Once again, I'm Nicodemus Kane. Today is July the 29th of 2022. When is August the 1st? Monday. Wow. Well, okay then. Monday is August. All right. Um, yeah, it's a Friday, of course, and I'm still kind of waking up. I'm still a little tired. But today we're going to read Isaiah 23, see if we can find something interesting for today. I know that I said yesterday I was looking for some kind of comfort, some kind of peace. I'm still looking for it. Not as bad as I was yesterday. I had a lot of troubling thoughts in my mind yesterday, and I was able to kind of get over it, get through it. Um, some of it. There's still, it's still a lot, but I am looking forward to taking a day of rest tomorrow. I am definitely looking forward to not having to worry about anything. Where we have nothing going on. we don't. We really have nothing going on. My wife has some things to do that she's going to do around the house, and I, I don't think I'm going to do anything. I don't know. I'm going to just exist. Like I said, day of rest. We're definitely going to enjoy it. Um, Outside of all that, so many interesting things happening in the world. Half of them I'm not even going to cover. If you want current events, you can always go to somewhere else and find them. Um, of course, it is a Friday. It's 6 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. Well, 6:12 in the morning on a Friday, and going into a new month. We have to look out for things that may happen. By that I mean the powers that should not be might pull some kind of nonsense on us because they love to do it on the weekends, and it will happen either around noon, either before noon or around noon, or it will happen between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. They do that so that it happens right as you're getting off work, so you won't know what's happening. That way they can control the narrative by the time you get home. And then once you get home and you hear it on the 6 o'clock news, then you get to spend the whole weekend thinking about what went on. And then by Monday, everybody is so controlled and so manipulated by the story that they get back to work on Monday and everyone is just repeating the same old garbage that everyone else is. And there is no other story that can come out of it. There is no other anything that can, be said about it other than what the mainstream narrative is. That has happened consistently for 20 years now. Sometimes they do it on a Monday, sometimes they'll do it on a Wednesday. I get it. They'll do things like that. If they do something, usually the biggest things that really are there to manipulate your emotions are done earlier in the week. That way you don't have time to really think about it other than have the emotions of it through the week, through the work week, because you will sit and dwell on it while you're at work. But when it's something that they are going to push out on you, and it's something to let you think on it and dwell on it and really put it in your mind, to change your mind, to change your thought processes. They'll do it at the end of the week, right before the weekend. That way you spend all your free time thinking about it. So watch out for today. I don't know. I just have a feeling that today we might see some manipulation. I don't know. Something's definitely up. I dread Fridays anymore, just because it's always something new. The two, San Francisco and New York City just declared a state of emergency over this stupid monkeypox nonsense. Come on now, really? Seriously? So I already said it. I already said it on Twitter that. So basically, what that means is that Sodom and Gomorrah are worried about an STD. It's all literally what it is. Think about it for a second. It's Sodom and Gomorrah worried about an STD. That's probably not even real. It's you know how it is. It's probably a side effect of the injections. So there you go. I just read that today and I was like, come on, man, give me a break. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Come on, monkeypox, seriously. And yes, I've known about monkeypox for a while, but to be declaring a state of emergency, piss off, man. It's just such a joke. It's just a joke. It's what it is. Maybe that could be what they decide to pull. I don't know. Again, especially since it is weekend and they like to have you dwell on something like that. I mean, they very well could pull some nonsense where they write some new bullshit executive order. I don't know. You'd have to see. You'd have to wait and see. It could be something as stupid as that. Lockdown again for something that's just completely absurd. You never know. It's the way it is, man. It's just the absolute way it is. And they would do that. They would absolutely do that. Now, I'm sure if it was a lockdown, they would say something like, oh, we're going to lock down in a week. And they did that when they started that stuff. When they did that, they every single time they instituted some kind of rule to where you either had to lock down or you either had to wear masks or whatever. They gave it a week. They were testing the waters. If within that week nobody was protesting it, then they would let it go. If people would have just protested it, would have said, no, we're not going to do this, they would have pulled back. It's something we've seen other countries do. I mean, if it was that bad, if it was that bad of an emergency, you would have said, okay, we got to stop it right now. We got to end it. We got to stop it right now. So everybody all at once do this. But no, they say, well, we're going to force you guys to do this stuff in a week. It's like, in a week? Shit, man, in a week, everybody could be infected. But that's not what they did. That's how you know it was fake. That's exactly how you know it was fake. Because they took their time. They took their time. They were testing the waters to see how much you would fight back. And nobody fought back. Because it was, oh, well, we've got a week. We don't have to worry about that. Let's go watch some football. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what happened. So it's your disregard. It's your disregard for wanting to have, or no, it's your disregard for your own responsibility. Taking your own responsibility that got you into this problem. That's what it is. It's people that didn't stand up when they had the chance. And now they're in this position. And the biggest problem is that people have been so conditioned to believe anything and everything a higher authority tells them that they'll just go along with it. They don't care. They'll just go along with it. I've seen and heard too many videos of people saying that, oh, the government is in charge here, they can do whatever they want, that regular humans shouldn't have any kind of autonomy whatsoever, that, the government tells us what to do. I've heard that so much in my life that I know for a fact at this point that not many people will be fighting back. Unless they really, really think that there's something that could go wrong. And they've manipulated the system so much now that they will never look bad. Even though it's right there in front of their face. Even though every single time you turn on a TV, the government straight up tells you, oh, well, we did this, we did that, this happened because of this. And half the people, they still don't understand what it means. Shit, man, half the people still don't understand that the Federal Reserve doesn't have anything to do with the federal government whatsoever. It's a private banking system. There is no money. It's all hopes and dreams. It's all worthless paper. Anyways, I could go on, but I'm not going to. I wanted to kind of keep it short today. I wanted to get a couple things done before work. So let's read Isaiah 23. Let's see if we can find the word that God needs to hear us, or needs us to hear. Needs us to hear today. Well, he needs to hear us. He needs to hear us crying out. I can tell you that much right now. God said, if you make the Bible says, if you make a noise loud enough, God will hear it. He will hear it and he will help you. So when it comes to hearing us, yes, please hear us, Father. Hear us. Hear our cries. All right. Isaiah 23. The burden of Tyre. Howl, ye ships of Tarshish, for it is laid waste, so that there is no house, no entering in. From the land of Chittim it is revealed to them. Now, before we go on, I know I said I didn't want to do this kind of stuff. Before we go on, the burden of Tyre, it's a Phoenician city in the Mediterranean coast. It means a rock. It also means a place in Palestine. Howl, ye ships of Tarshish. Tarshish means yellow jasper. It's a city of the Phoenicians in a distant part of the Mediterranean Sea, to which the prophet Jonah was trying to flee. Aha. What was the other one? Tarshish was the son of Javan. So, the son of Javan was one of the 7 sons of Japheth. Or Japheth. Japheth? Is that what it is? Japheth being one of the sons of Noah. So these were the people that they say could very well be the Greeks. The sons of Japheth went and became the Greeks. At least that's what they say. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but, this is just what I read. I went hunting for it because you have to kind of understand these things in one way, shape, or form. So these are the ships of the Greeks. Howl, ye ships of Tarshish, for it is laid waste, so that there is no house, no entering in. From the land of Chittim it is revealed to them. Chittim. general term for all islanders of the Mediterranean Sea. And these are the descendants of Javan, son of Japheth, the whatever of whatever. So again, these are the descendants. These are the people that came from Noah and found their way into the sea. Which, when we talk about the people of the sea, and we talk about maritime law, we got to kind of put all this stuff together and wonder, because again, I've said not everything, the flood killed everything on land, didn't kill everything in the sea. And we have fish gods on this side of the flood. We have fish gods that they worship on this side of the flood. So that's got to mean something, I mean, people don't want to believe in the legends of like mermaids or giant sea monsters or anything. But again, these legends, every legend, every story, every myth has a bit of truth in it. And we understand that there was some kind of manipulation of the flesh that was happening in the days of Noah. And you have these weird abomination creatures, half horse, half human, half goat, half human, half fish, half human, monstrosities that they have these legends of. That these ideas had to come from somewhere. I do not believe that these were just made up creatures. I think these might have been actual creatures because everybody talks about these things. So there's something to it. There's got to be something to that. So when we talk about the people from the sea, we have to kind of put that in the context of what's going on with it. Now, I'm not saying that the sons of Japheth were terrible people that became the mariners that, the people of the sea that made all the maritime laws, and I'm not saying that. But, you just kind of put it all together, and there's something more to it that we're missing. I'm just kind of speculating. But there's still that connection between when it talks about the people of the sea that sold, in Revelations, when it talks about the people of the sea that sold their goods to all the peoples of the world, and I don't remember exactly what it said, but where when it talks about the beast that comes out of the sea. And it talks, you hear about them worshiping fish gods. And then you understand that we are under a law meant for sailors and people of the sea. We are under that maritime law. There's something there to it. I don't know what it is entirely. I'm just putting puzzle pieces together. I'm not saying it is what it is. I'm just saying that there's more to look there. If you want to dive down a rabbit hole, feel free, because that rabbit hole gets pretty deep, and you might actually figure out and realize something about what it is to be birthed into this world. Anyways, I'm just putting that out there. Verse 2. Be still, ye inhabitants of the isle, thou whom the merchants of Zidon that pass over the sea have replenished. The merchants of Zidon, or Sidon, ancient Phoenician city on the Mediterranean coast of Tyre, in the sense of catching fish or a fishery. So, be still, ye inhabitants of the isle, thou whom the merchants of Zidon, a fishery that passed over the sea, have replenished. See, there you go. I was just looking up. Okay. Anyways. And by great waters, the seed of Sihor, the harvest of the river is her revenue, and she is a mart of nations. Sihor, and by great waters, the seed of Sihor. Sihor is a river canal on the east border of Egypt and a branch of the Nile. It is dark. And by great waters, the seed of Sihor, the harvest of the river, is her revenue, and she is a mart for nations. A mart meaning a traffic place. Sihor. Okay. Be thou ashamed, O Sidon. Now every time you say Sidon, it makes me think of Poseidon. I'm just throwing that out there. It's these connections. Everything is connected. Everything is connected if you really, really kind of think about it. Be thou ashamed, O Sidon, for the sea hath spoken, even the strength of the sea, saying, I travail not, nor bring forth children, neither do I nourish up young men, nor bring up virgins. As at the report concerning Egypt, so shall they be sorely pained at the report of Tyre. Pass ye over to Tarshish, howl, ye inhabitants of the isle. Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days? And there it is, right there. Well, let's finish that whole thing. Is your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days? Her own feet shall carry her afar off to sojourn. So this is an old city, ancient days, whose antiquity is of ancient days. Oh man, I gotta sneeze. That's funny. That one snuck up on me. Wow. Okay. You get those where it's just like I didn't even feel it coming at all. Man, now my nose is going to be all runny and nasty. That's awesome. I love recording videos where something goes wrong and then everything just kind of falls apart. Sorry about that. It's like old days, isn't it? It's just like the old days. I remember when I first started putting myself on a camera, and I was in the basement of the old house, and I had to sneeze, so I had to like lean over off the camera because I couldn't pause the video, and blow my nose, and then I have to come back or something. Now it's just I got to hit the mute button, and then you get like 5-10 seconds of just blank air. It's good stuff, though. It's good stuff. Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days? So this is an old city. This is a city that has been there for a while. This is a city, when they talk about ancient days, this may have been... I'm looking here to see ancient time, before things were recorded. This could have been a city that was there before the flood. Now, I'm not saying that these are the people before the flood. I'm saying that this was a city that they may very well have found before the flood. So you have to remember that just about everything was covered by the flood. Just about. We're still digging out for whatever reason. Because I think it's insane to think that we as humans existed in the world for thousands of years and not one single person stopped and said, hey, wait a minute, why don't we dig? You know, look, there's some rocks over there that looks like a city. I wonder what would happen if we dig down into it. We might find some treasure. Nobody ever thought that. The ruins of Greece, some of the ruins of Rome, the pyramids in Egypt, all of these places, sat there for, supposedly, according to our time, sat there for thousands of years, and nobody bothered to touch them. They're just like, oh, no, they're just there, you know. It wasn't until the 1800s where everybody was like, hey, maybe we should start digging this stuff out. You know, nobody in the 1200s, you know, came across some Greek ruins and thought, I wonder if they have any gold. Nobody thought that? Like, come on, seriously? Nobody thought to, it goes with like the Aztecs too. Nobody thought to dig down into those? Seriously? And we know that nobody dug into them because when they dug into them, they started finding gold. They started finding, you know, all these artifacts. So nobody touched them. They just sat there. So you telling me that all these people just kind of, they walked right over it, didn't care, didn't bother? Nobody bothered to touch it. According to your history, everybody just stayed at home and did absolutely nothing for like 2,000 years until the 1800s when somebody kind of got up and said, hey, what happens if we dig this? Nobody through all that time ever found a quote-unquote dinosaur bone. Nobody ever found anything. I mean, it's almost... going off of speculation, just going off on a tangent. It's almost as if we just appeared in this world in the 1800s, and it's just like, hey, let's just dig all this stuff out, see what happens. And this stuff sat there for years, according to our timeline. It not even according to the mainstream, the narrative. It according to what we know. You know, as the truth, it sat there for X amount of years and nobody did a damn thing to it. And we dig it out and this stuff is almost pristine. It's almost like it was buried yesterday. So what's going on here? So this could have been an old city. This could have been before pre-flood. Maybe it was just an old city. Maybe it was one of the first cities, like, you know, as soon as Noah stepped off the ark. Again, this is a son of Japheth, a son of Javan. Maybe that's what it means. This is one of the first cities created when they stepped off the boat. Maybe that's what it means. Who knows? You have to figure that stuff out. Which is probably what it means. It's probably just because it's an old city. But when they talk about ancient in the Bible, they're talking about, you know, before time, before things started being recorded. So I don't know. I don't want to get into a big, heavy debate on when it is. Let's just say it's an old city. Where are we at? Verse 8. Who hath taken his counsel against Tyre. Wait, let's go back one. Let's do it again. Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days? Her own feet shall carry her afar off to sojourn. Who hath taken this counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princes, whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth? Who hath taken this counsel against Tyre? It's a question. It's a question. Sheesh. The Lord of hosts hath proposed it. Hath purposed it. Not proposed it. Purposed it. The Lord of hosts. I cannot talk today. Blah, blah. Man, that sneeze really messed me up. The Lord of hosts. Come on. Somebody made a comment that I was a good order. Yeah. Anyways. The Lord of hosts hath purposed it, to stain the pride of all glory, and to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. I'm laughing at myself. I crack myself up. Pass through thy land as a river, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no more strength. He stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. The Lord hath given a commandment against the merchant city, to destroy the strongholds thereof. The merchant city. Again, the merchant city is in Revelations. They talk about the merchant city. Let me see if I can find it. Isaiah 23. But I'm sure, it may not have actually absolutely said the merchant city, but it was talking about the city by the sea. Revelation 18. Let me see if I can find it here. We'll do it real quick. I'm going to try to find it real quick. I know this is going to take a second. Plagues shall come in one day. The kings of the earth who have committed fornication with her. Great Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is that judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. For no man buyeth her merchandise any more. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city, which was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour the great riches come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by the sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? So it follows along that line. There's the merchants of the sea. They see Babylon, the great city Babylon, falling. But again, it's that merchant city. It's that shipping motif, I guess you will. They talk about the merchants of the sea, the shipping people, the fact that, you have the United Kingdom and America and China now that are all these great merchant cities, these merchant nations, you want to talk about merchants of the sea, you talk about like the East India Trading Company, if that was even a real thing. We don't even know if it was a real thing or not, but you talk about stuff like that, and you have to put this stuff into context, see how this stuff works together with what the Bible says. So every time I hear these things, that's what I think of. Is it true? Probably not. I'm not going to say it is or it isn't. I'm just saying that that's how it kind of works together. Anyways, where are we at? Where were we at? Pass through thy land as a river, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no more strength. Is that where we were? Bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. Pass through thy land as a river, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no more strength. He stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. The Lord hath given a commandment against the merchant city. There it is. To destroy the strongholds thereof. And he said, Thou shalt no more rejoice, O thou oppressed virgin, daughter of Sidon. It's Z, but it sounds like an S. Arise, pass over to Chittim. There also shalt thou have no rest. Behold the land of the Chaldeans. This people was not, till the Assyrian founded it, for them that dwell in the wilderness. They set up the towers thereof. Every time the Bible says towers, you know what I think of. They set up the towers thereof. They raised up the palaces thereof, and he brought it to ruin. Now, they talk about the towers, and I'm not going to say twin towers. I'm going to say skyscrapers. He raised up the palaces thereof. And, of course, when you talk about the palaces, you talk about castles, you talk about kingdoms, you talk about them building up these grand, huge buildings where the rulers live. So every time they talk about bringing these things down, you have to put them together with just how big the buildings have become. I mean, maybe they were this big back then. Probably not, though. I'm pretty sure they could probably get up a good, maybe 6-7 stories, maybe more than that. I mean, hell, they had way more intelligence than we had. I'm sure they probably had skyscrapers before we even knew what the hell a skyscraper was. But they set up the towers thereof. They raised up the palaces thereof, and he brought it to ruin. Howl, ye ships of Tarshish, for your strength is laid waste. And it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years, according to the days of one king. After the end of 70 years shall Tyre sing as an harlot. Now, I'm sure if you dig into that, you will probably find some Bible scholar that says that's where the 70 years was. That, it was about some country somewhere, along the lines that they spent 70 years where they were besieged by something or something else happened. And it's entirely possible. I get that. But as far as I understand, in the context of Isaiah, we are still talking about end time stuff, aren't we? Or have we moved out of that? Was there a complete and total break where we stopped talking about the seed of Judah, or the what was it? It was in the very beginning. It was talking about a prince out of the seed of Judah. Excuse me, the root. I think it was the root of Jesse. Wasn't that what it was? That would come out and would take over and yada yada yada. That was Christ. But when he came back, this would all happen. I mean, are we still there? Or are we in a new place now? Because aren't we in the context of that? The end of days? Isn't this the context of that? Because aren't these saying, and it shall come to pass? Aren't we? I mean, isn't this dealing with that? I don't know. So the 70 years thing is interesting, though, because you have that 70 years that it talks about. What was it? I know it's been 70 years since Israel supposedly became a country again. But there was something else about a 70 years. Well, that has nothing to do with it at all. No. What? "70 years of captivity." "And it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years. According to the days of one king, after the end of 70 years shall Tyre sing as an harlot." 70 years of captivity. Well, I mean, 70 is Of course, a man, his generation is 70 years, 80 years if by strength, of course. There is that. But there's other ones, too. I remember there being other ones. Jeremiah, "The whole land will be a desolation and horror, and these nations will serve the king of Babylon 70 years. Well, there's one. Jeremiah 25. "Then it will be when 70 years are completed, I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation." So maybe that's what part of this is. Maybe that's exactly what it is. Here's Daniel. Daniel's always interesting. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, observed the books, the number of years which was revealed as the word of the Lord to Jeremiah the prophet for the completion of the desolations of Jerusalem, namely 70 years. Then, of course, we have Isaiah 23. There's another one coming up, too. It will come at the end of 70 years that the Lord will visit Tyre. Then she will go back to her harlot's wages and will play the harlot with all the kingdoms to the face of the earth. So there's something going on there. Let's read it again. Verse 15. And it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years, according to the days of one king. Maybe they're all taken off into captivity for 70 years. After the end of 70 years shall Tyre sing as an harlot. Take an harp, go about the city, thou harlot that hast been forgotten. Make sweet melody, sing many songs, that thou mayest be remembered. There is a break on verse 17. This is supposedly a new paragraph, a new thought process. And it shall come to pass after the end of 70 years that the Lord will visit Tyre, and she shall turn to her hire, and shall commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth. That has a tie to Revelation 17:2. That is exactly what. As soon as we hit that, there's a little footnote there that says Revelation 17:2. Let's look at it. Why not? Revelation 17:2. Since it's 17:2, let's go ahead and go 17:1. Revelation 17. Was that what I was looking for? Or was that what I was looking at? Let's go back. Let me see here. I was on Revelation 18, so they probably both the same thing. Revelation 17. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That's that merchant city. Do you get it? You getting it? 17:2, this is what it was. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. This is the beast that rises up out of the waters. Let's go back here. And it shall come to pass after the end of 70 years that the Lord will visit Tyre, and she shall turn to her hire, and shall commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth. After the 70 years, is there anything in Revelations that talks about the 70 years? No, there's no actual timeline there. But this is the woman that after the 70 years, she was the one that... There is a connection there. I can't make that connection right this second. I mean, there's a... I'm pretty sure I understand what this means. But after 70 years, this is the horror, the horror that comes up out of the water, sitting upon the scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 horns and 10 heads, or seven heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads, I think, were... What did it say? The 10 horns, the horns were kingdoms. So it's 10 kingdoms. 7 heads, which I think the 7 heads meant the 7... There were 7 people, 7 kings that ruled over 10 nations. I think it's what they said it was. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a cup in her hand full of abominations. Which is exactly what Revelation 18 says. Then after these things, I saw another angel come down, blah, 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 blah. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And then everybody cried about it. And the kings of the earth who committed fornication with her have cried about it. And they cried about all the things that they lost. And within 1 hour, everything came to naught. So after 70 years, this woman starts opening up the brothel again. And then that's whenever God decides for 70 years, Tyre will be forgotten. According to the days of one king. What does that mean? After the 70 years shall Tyre sing as an harlot. She will come out with a harp, go about the city. Thou harlot that hast been forgotten, make sweet melody, sing many songs that thou mayest be remembered. And she will go out and she will commit fornication with all the kings. And she shall turn to her hire, and shall commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth. Now, verse 18 of Isaiah 23, and her merchandise and her hire shall be holiness to the Lord. What? It shall not be treasured nor lay up, nor for her merchandise shall be for them that dwell before the Lord to eat sufficiently, and for durable clothing. Wait a minute. Stop. Hold on a second. Let's read that one again, because something interesting is happening here. And it shall come to pass. I should have read it all first, because that may just completely wipe out everything I just said. You never know. And it shall come to pass after the end of 70 years that the Lord will visit Tyre, and she shall turn to her hire, and shall commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth. This is still the whore. And her merchandise, and her hire shall be holiness to the Lord. It shall not be treasured, nor laid up. So this is something good for him, because he's going to wind up wiping these people out anyways. You see, you got to read these things. You got to read these things to understand. So it's her merchandise and her hire, everything that she makes, all the gain and profit that she makes, her hire of prostitute shall be holiness, how it shall be set apart, shall be the things to the Lord, the things that he wants. It's going to happen. He wants that to happen because it has to happen so that he can come through in Revelation 17 and wipe it all out. It shall not be treasured nor laid up. It shall not be worth anything. For her merchandise shall be for them that dwell before the Lord. That dwell before the Lord. Now, we're not talking about... That's what I'm looking. They just abide before the Lord. It's those that were in the presence of the Lord, those that the Lord will go to Tyre, and he will be there, and she shall commit fornication, and they shall be for those people to eat sufficiently and for durable clothing. And when he comes through in Revelation 17 and 18, and they say, oh, but all the things that we just had that were so good for us, he will give it over to them. He will give them all the jewels and gold and all the stuff and everything so that they can enjoy it and hope, think that they're living good in life, but they're committing fornication. This is still bad stuff. This is not stuff for the stuff that he's giving her, or that she is making, the merchandise and the hire that she has. This is not for the people of God. This is for those that are before God, that dwell before God, that exist before God. Dwell is is the people that are inhabiting the land, dwell before, that face, that are in front of. These are not the people that believe in God, follow God. This is for the people that are there, because the Lord will visit Tyre, and that everything that she makes will be for Tyre. And then when it comes to pass, this is the woman that upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. This woman will come out of Tyre. What does that mean? I don't know. But you have to remember, this woman, it also says, this is the woman that is drunken on the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. This is the same woman. This is the same harlot. This is what this is. There is a connection here. This is opening the Bible. This is understanding what's going on. What does it mean? I don't know. I can only ask the Father to give me some kind of understanding. You know, it's crazy though, because after this, there is, the next one's good too. The land shall be utterly emptied. The chapter 24. Isaiah 24 is always an interesting one. But after this, after he sees the woman and the beast that carries her, after this, it is talking about the beast that ascends from the bottomless pit, which is the same beast that carries her. And the angel said unto me, Where didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. She rides the beast, the abomination that comes out of the pit. Because the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book. They will wonder after the beast when they behold it. Oh, there it is. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, which is interesting. Both Rome and America were formed on 7 mountains. And there are 7 kings. That's the 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the son, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns are the 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. 1 hour with the beast. So, man, you want some connections? Go for it. Go for it. Have fun with that. Feel free. Take that. I mean, we are talking about the end time. We are still in the end times. This is not something that happened in the past. That 70 years is a thing that's going to happen in the future, which is probably now. Again, it is interesting that we're talking about the 70 years, and we just hit the 70-year anniversary of the forming of Israel. I put it together, and again, I'm one of those guys that says, you know, we may be in the 1,000-year. We may be in the short season of Satan that came after the 1,000-year, the millennial reign, or it could be that we're being tricked into thinking that so that we won't see what's coming, or this is something that's still going to happen in the future. We don't know. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of really, really interesting things that are happening. And it's all in the book. It's all in the Bible. It all connects in one way, shape, or form. And it's amazing how it does this. It's absolutely amazing how it does this. So, I don't know what to make of it. I could spend 2 or 3 hours just talking about this. I mean, we could go back and forth and back and forth. It is interesting that, like I said, the next one. The next chapter will follow along. I mean, it will follow along right along with what's coming. There's crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. They shall not drink wine with a song. Shall drink. I mean, they sounds exactly like Revelation 18, where they will cry for the great city Babylon, because all of their stuff, everything that the merchant city used to put out, is gone. It's fallen away. There's nothing left. And they cried out for every little thing that was there. There's something going on here, man. There's connections to be made. This is again, Isaiah, it's got peaks and valleys. It's like it starts off pretty strong and then it just kind of dumps, and you don't want to read it after that. Once you get into like the teen chapters, you're just like, it's just a slog. But then it picks back up. 23, 24, I don't remember if 25 was in there. There was a lot of stuff. I mean, 26 almost talks about the New Jerusalem, for crying out loud. I mean, there's stuff in here. It's for whatever reason, this is what I was pulled into read or wanting to read. So here we are, So anyways, thank you guys for coming around and listening to me babble on about all of this. I'm hoping that I did it half justice that it needed to have. Again, there's connections there. There's ideas and concepts that happened in Isaiah that follow right along with Revelations. It's just that John, for whatever reason, whenever he was given the revelation by Christ, he was given a lot more details. I think Isaiah was given enough to be able to talk about it, but John really, he was able to put it together in a way that, really make it understood. But that's what the Bible says too, is that everybody that's in the Spirit, everybody that makes the walk, makes the journey, everyone that is saved has a piece of the puzzle that we share with others. No one person is given everything, as we're all, given little bits and pieces, because we're all the body. We're not just, there's no one person that can be over everyone else. One person is able to understand this, while another person is able to understand that. Those two come together and they have a full piece of the puzzle. They can understand it better. And I think that's part of the process, is that we are meant to come together to put these pieces together to be able to form the body of the church, the body of Christ. We are to come together, to form together, to be together, because separate we know nothing. We know bits and pieces of things, but together we are able to understand. I think maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I have to go now. I spent my hour. I may not be able to do the stuff I wanted to do. That's all right. Hey, Hey, man, God showed us something interesting today. I don't care who you are, what you are, where you are. That was cool. That's cool when we can put those together like that. You know? This is an ancient city built after one of the sons of Noah that is part of the merchants of the sea that has fallen, and it will be forgotten for 70 years, and then will come back and sing as an harlot. And she shall turn and commit fornication with the kingdoms. She shall be that harlot that rides the beast with the 7 horns and the kingdoms. And this is a place in Greece that gets wiped out. That whenever it comes back riding the beast with the 7 mountains and the 10 kings. There's something to it. Is it Rome? I tell you what, if it's Rome, because it fits, it tracks, it completely tracks. That if it was Rome, if Greece was forgotten for 70 years, and then Rome rises up out of it, that 70 years, they say that Christ died in 33 AD, and that Rome was sacked in 72 AD. Is that the 70 years? I'm just putting that out there. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying it tracks. Maybe that's part of the deception. I don't know. Maybe that's the truth. I don't know. Nothing we know is real anymore. Nothing we know is truth. We have the Bible. The Bible tells us the truth. That's the only thing we have. Everything else is a lie of Satan. So it's something to that. Something we need to look into and think about. But I have to go. Everybody's kind of waking up, so I got to get going. I shall talk to y'all later. God bless everyone. Take care of yourselves. Dude, go do some research. If anybody can find anything better than that for me, please feel free. Leave it in the comments. Tell me. I got to know. I got to know what this means. So I'll be praying for some more discernment on this one. I might try to see if I can find some videos about this. Other than, the guys that just say the same old stuff. I've heard so many preachers and pastors and Bible scholars that just say the same old things about the harlot. And it's just like, okay, you guys are saying the same old stuff, but what does it mean? What is the 70 years? Because there's a connection there, and I don't hear anybody talk about the 70 years, and then the whore pops up on a beast. All I hear about is the beast and the whore. Mystery Babylon. Well, what's Mystery Babylon? Well, I don't know. Everybody wants to say Mystery Babylon is like, either America or, someplace else. It's like, okay, I get that, but why is it 70 years? Why is it that this stuff tracks together with other things? And why are there 7 hills in Rome and there's 7 hills in America? It's not 7 hills in America. It's 7 hills in the capital of America, which again makes me wonder if that's part of the deception. I don't know. Maybe whoever made America made it deliberately to make it seem like that, so that it would. Because again, if you think that you are right before the end of it all, you will follow accordingly. And whenever the end of everything doesn't happen, then you will lose faith. Now, if you are in that short season of Satan where he's trying to manipulate everyone into losing their faith because this is the last bid for him to try to gather souls, that makes sense, is to try to trick people in every way, shape, or form possible. Is that part of it? I don't know. And I'm not saying that's what's I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just kind of pointing out that it seems like there's two different ways of looking at it. And it tracks both ways. It's very strange. This is a heavy discernment. God, please give us the discernment to be able to figure this stuff out kind of thing. So, I don't know. Everybody's awake outside, though, so I got to go. So I shall talk to you guys later. God bless every one of you. Take care of yourselves, and we'll figure this stuff out as we go. All right? Take it easy.